Hey guys, this is Black Woman 7 here, and today I'll be going over part 2 of pretty much the latest information from the Pokemon Sword and Shield. I guess you could say Datamine slash leak slash whatever. So, um, as we know, as we're well aware, like people have gone like the games slightly earlier, and in this video, I'm just gonna be going over the latest information in regards to possible nerfs and buffs to Pokemon. Now, I'm not going to be going over the movesets entirely. That's going to be a separate video. And because there's a lot of changes that I kind of want to go through all of them at once. And here I kind of want to go through some of the more little nitpicky stuff. Some things I've noticed that I don't think people have covered. And then I know some people have already covered like the moveset video. So I'm just going to wait a while or like the following day to post that. So here I'm just gonna talk about all the moves that the moves abilities like items that, well, not all items, but like just stuff that like has gone like nerfed, buffed in a way. So by the way, this is a massive spoilers for competitive if you don't want to know this information, but this is no, like, by the way, this none of this is pertaining to like story spoilers, and there's nothing regarding to that. So I hope you guys who watched this video just understand that. So okay, so for those who stayed, let's just get right into it. So I have all these tabs, by the way. So by the way, all this information is found in Smogon and the Smogon threads for Pokemon Sword and Shield. So also huge shout outs to Kaphotics for going through and all the information and just, doing the data mine. So without him, we wouldn't have gotten all this stuff. So access to all this new information. Right now, the first thing I want to talk about is I have like a couple things. I have a list, by the way. So the first thing I want to talk about are the TM and TR listings. I know I've covered this the other day, but here's a quick rundown just for you guys to like see. And there is a, by the way, keep in mind Will-O-Wisp, and let's see, we'll find that move, other move. Well, there's a lot of like new moves you've seen, like I know that I passed through it, like there's all these multi-hit moves. I think those the elemental fangs, the swap moves, and as well as the elemental axe here. And even Mega Punch and Mega Kick, which is funny. So, but as you see, there is a certain move that is missing, or two. Even here in the TRs, like Encore, some really strong ones like Encore, Toxic Spikes have made it in. But even Ally Switch made it in, so that's gonna be fun for the beach season. Basically, there is one move that didn't make it through, and that is Toxic. So, Toxic is in the game, by the way. It's just that it's no longer a TM or TR move. And that's huge, because that's one of the very few attacks that basically every Pokemon learns. And that's probably been one of the strongest statuses in the game. Like, well, it's always been very consistent alongside with like Thunder Wave before like it got nerfed, but obviously Toxic has been probably the strongest one as of late, outside of maybe Sleep. Well, they all like, okay, with the exception of like a Burn and Freeze, because Freeze is unreliable, but when you get it, like it's pretty much over. So yeah. So basically Toxic has received a huge nerf in the fact that Pokemon, like at least that are from the Galar decks or that you catch in Pokemon Sword Shield, can't learn the move. There are other ways you can learn it. Most poison Pokemon, from what I've seen from the play spins, do know like Toxic or Toxic Spikes. So I'm assuming they did this out of like the fact that they have Toxic Spikes in the game. They'll just take away Toxic as well. So, and it just makes basically that's one huge thing that like most stall teams use to chip down opponents, or even like in draft league, and that's what, like, one of the many ways you could just wear down walls, wear down sweepers, you know, for your own Pokemon, etc., etc. It's always been that one thing that people have always used ever since, I believe, Gen 2. So that's when it gained like competitive relevance. So, well, it's been there from like since Gen 1, but like, like, so anyways, there's a lot of by the way, this refrain from like looking at the new Pokemon, but here's Toxic, and here's a list of Pokemon that learned Toxic. As you can see, it's basically like very defensive, either Pokemon that are like very defensive poison types, or have families of, like, from the poison line. Like, for example, Oddish was a poison type, and then you evolve it to Blossom. Blossom obviously learns it. So I believe there's other ways you could get Toxic via egg moves, and so far there hasn't been like a for sure. No one has like pretty much made a list of all the egg moves yet for pace pins, and I don't want to look through all that. So, um, so, if as you can see, Gengar gets, well, Ghastly, just assume Gengar, Weezing, Weezing 1, I think that's Galarian Weezing, Quagsire, Quillfish, Shuckle, Rosalia, Roserade, Vespiquen. That's probably the few non-poison types that gets it. Timepole, I think that means Seismitoad gets the move Toxic as well. Fertile Seed, so Ferrothorn still knows Toxic, as well as Mandibuzz. And of course, Toxapex, and Pyukumuku, and all the new Pokemon that are poison types that know it. So I'm just gonna stop there because yeah. Another move that I believe got drafted was Roost. In that throughout that like TM and TR listings, I believe Roost got was removed. So it wasn't like removed completely from the game. Pokemon can still know it. It's just that it's now, for flying type Pokemon, you have to kind of like breed for the move, which is already gonna be kind of suck. So let me see if I can find the Roost. So so here it is. So basically Farfetch, Hoothoot, Noctowl, Natu, Mantine, Wingo, Pelipper, Bidove, Tranquil, Pheasant, Zubat, Diglett, Volbeat, Palucha, Noibat, Noivern, Rookidee, which is actually the pre-evolution of Corviknight, by the way. And there's another one. So only these Pokemon can learn Roost, but keep in mind there might be other Pokemon as well that can learn it via egg moves. But unfortunately, we don't have like a proper listings of that. So but the fact that Roost and Toxic have been removed, it does, from the TMs and TR listings, it just imply that they're trying to make some sort of effort to stop, stall in a way. But then again, I'm not so sure. So because Game Freak usually primarily focuses on the VGC doubles and maybe battle spot singles. So 3v3 battle spot singles. Those are the two meta games that they typically focus on. So moving on from this, another thing that we've learned, and this one's kind of I remember people were talking about Aegislash for the past few weeks now, when it was shown off in one of the trailers, that it was going to be the best Pokemon in both the VGC format and the upcoming VGC format, and in singles, and it might even get banned from that. So, and apparently this thing got a huge nerf, in the sense that its offensive, or its highest stats, usually when you think of Aegislash, you think of its 150 attack and 150 attack and 150 special attack. It's now been nerfed to 140 in both stats, and this is the reverse. This is the same conversely with its shield form. As you can see, this is Aegislash, and here are the stats: 140 in attack and 140 in special attack. And obviously this 50, this is defensive. So this is a shield or sword form Aegislash. And I believe shield form, as I'll get on top here, is 140 as well in defenses. And that's pretty huge if you think about it, because Aegislash has been also one of the very few staple Pokemon, like, in the VGC scene before, Incineroar got introduced. So, basically speaking, the fact that Aegislash has gotten a slight nerf in its offensive capabilities and its defense is huge. I don't think it learns Toxic anymore, so it can't even, like, utilize Sub-Toxic anymore. It can still run, like, I believe it still has Toxic, but it doesn't have access to, wait, it still has Sub, so. But it doesn't have access to Toxic, so that's huge for Aegislash. It's not only does it lose, like, not only did they, like, nerf its attacks, it also, they nerfed its defensive capabilities. And the last thing I want to talk about Aegislash is, and I forgot where exactly was it from the threads, but apparently King Shield is now only -1. It'll only drop your attack stat by -1 instead of -2. So that's pretty huge as well. So regarding AG, so I think they went out of their way just to try to nerf Aegislash via, one, just removing Toxic from its move pool, two, nerfing its stats, and three, nerfing the way King Shield does. So yeah, they just, like, in a way they were nerfed in 4 ways, because they nerfed it in its stats, or in its offensive stats, defensive stats. They removed Toxic, because that's one of its viable sets, Sub-Toxic Aegislash. And yeah, like this thing has been, like, pretty much like neutered in a way, so, well, not entirely, but we'll have to wait and see. It still has like 140 special attack and access to sword stances, so it could still boost up. So, and as you clearly saw, it learns a couple moves that are going to be kind of terrifying to face off against. So yeah. Now, okay, the next things I want to talk about are abilities and moves that got, like, okay, basically abilities that got, like, nerfed / buffed flat or whatever. So in this situation, inner focus and own tempo apparently prevent stat drops and the intimidate only. So here's a source proof by Sylvie of JVC VGC. So I'm not gonna show the link or show the video because, like, of course Nintendo's gonna, like, go after my ass. So, but clearly, basically speaking, what it does is that both inner focus and own tempo block intimidate. It doesn't block stat drops entirely, like how, like, maybe like Clear Body does. Think of it more like Hypercutter, like a weaker Hypercutter, but like a good example would be, like, let's say if in this example you clearly see, like, they're using a Gyarados. So in that video specifically, they have a Gyarados going up against a Sneasel, and the Sneasel, one of its abilities is inner focus. So essentially speaking, inner focus blocks the intimidate from the Gyarados. So, and already you can see that this has huge, like, ramifications in, like, singles and doubles, because Pokemon like Lucario, well, I don't think Weavile gets inner focus. I don't know if it does, but yeah, like, Lucario suck. I was gonna say Mega Gallade, but then, I realized that Mega Gallade got Dano snapped, so yeah. But I guess it doesn't have that much application in VGC, but at least in singles, Lucario now has another ability to, like, abuse that's just as reliable if you think about it, because not only do you, like, even in VGC, like, inner focus, not only do you prevent yourself from being flinched, but you also prevent, like, intimidate against you. So that's huge. So that's, like, something worth talking about. Like, let's see what other stuff I have here. Also, pinch berries have been nerfed. So if those of you guys, this is very huge in the VGC scene, by the way. So for those of you guys who have seen me in my videos use pinch berries, or haven't seen them and at all. It's basically like an item that allows like pretty much it gives you like a free instant heal when you're at like 25% or below. So like basically like the Fion berries that they're called, like Figgy, Ipapa, Agua, Wiki, Muggo, like they basically give you a free recover if you're below like 25%. And that's been like a huge staple in competitive for like a while now, especially more so in doubles. So because like I said, like I mentioned 5 different berries, and the fact that there is item clause means that like you could run 5 Pokemon with 5 berries, and it's been a very viable strategy. Teams, well, not always, but like you get the idea. Like people have, it's often better than having like a citrus berry itself, at like in most cases, because you're just getting like a ton of recovery off. So and I don't want to go too much in detail, but the fact that these berries got nerfed is huge, especially most so in doubles and even in draft league and singles. So that's something to consider when discussing these changes. Um, Also, let me see if I can find the file here. Okay, here it is. So here are the last things I want to talk about for today, and basically, this is regarding some of these new move changes. So, I already talked about inner focus. Um, Multi-attack basically for Silvally. Now it gives you like 120 base power. So, this is a huge like boon for like Silvally and its memory forms. So, Silvally now has access to basically high-powered like basically a high-powered 120 psychic or physical psychic move with I believe no 100% accuracy. So that's huge. Of course, you don't have an item boost, but you still have access to like I believe Sword Stand. So think of it as like sort of like an Ars, like basically like Judgment or like physical judgment from Arceus. So that's the best case, like best like way to explain it. So multi attack just has a huge like um you know it's basically a huge like buff to Silvally and using it in general. So, but of course, the big news that I think everyone's been talking about for the past couple days has been the fact that Rapid Spin has now been buffed. Yes, that I'm not kidding about that. Rapid Spin has been buffed quite considerably now that not only does it do more damage instead of like 120 base power, 150 is kind of respectable, but well, not so much. It's basically tackle, but now it gives you +1 speed as well as remove hazards, and that's huge because you're essentially like removing like you're not only are you getting rid of hazards, but you're getting a +1 raise. And think of it, the major ramifications for this. Like I think the biggest one, no question, is Escadrille. Like Escadrille has already a very above average speed of 88, and the fact that it gets +1 speed means it could always like get like boosted with like speed stat, and it could ensure that it could outspeed a its opponent. Now, like if you think about it, Moldbreaker Escadrille just got a huge boon to it because now it doesn't even have to run Choice Scarf as much anymore. So I know they've been running like Focus Sash and Scarf, but like this is huge for Escadrille. Like even like more so like if you could like pretty much like think about running like maybe like an Assault Vest set. If you think about it, like you're not limited to running Scarf Drill with Moldbreaker. So of course Sandrill, Sandrush Drill is still viable, for being able to have that instant speed, but being able to have that insurance with being able to have that like +1 speed as well is just as good. So yeah, especially if you could like predict, like let's say you want to go for secondary Rapid Spin to get to +2 speed. Now you're just as fast as a Sandrill, and not only that, you have access to Swords Dance. So yeah, other Pokemon I could think of that have that could use this are, I believe, Serena. What else? What else? What else? Arena, Hitmons. The Hitmons can learn it. And yeah, those are the only ones. I know, like, Blastoise, Mega Blastoise would have appreciated this, but you know, you got Dano Snap. So yeah, those are all the little nerfs and buffs that I've noticed. Um, like, I think that's all I'm gonna like. I'm gonna cut it from here, and I'm gonna just end the video right here. So, obviously I'm gonna go over this list, these listings of the movesets, in the next one. So, anyways, I'll catch you guys next time for as I go over these Pokemon's updated like movesets for Sword and Shield. So, anyways, yeah.